I don't know if Isla's joining us because of her exams, so might be just us. I think everybody else is here.
Oh, there comes Harold.
I'm here.
Ah,
I just
good.
can't, you just can't see me because I'm in the car.
Yes, yes. I understand.
Speaker.
Okay,
They're still having trouble.
I think so.
So I'm going to mute myself until I need to say something.
Okay,
Come on.
yeah, we can
Oh,
hear
we
Faye,
we
but
hear you,
she can't,
Faye. We hear you.
she can't hear us.
Oh,
Okay. I don't know if she got my message in the chat box or not.
Oh, no, it's not.
Should be able to text her.
It's working now.
We can hear you, Faye.
Yeah, I don't have a phone number to text her.
I don't think she texts at all, but I'm not sure.
Oh, now she started sharing the screen. I'm gonna stop that. There.
I don't have a cell phone number for her. So you can hear Faye. I haven't heard anything from her.
No, I can hear her keyboard or sometimes she'll sigh or,
Oh, I see.
yeah.
She's not muted now, so that's good. Can you hear us, Faye? She may have her keyboard turned off, like the sound on her keyboard turned off.
Yeah, I don't know.
Send her an email, see. Would suggest, I don't know. Or I could call her again.
What the hell?
If you want to mute her, I'll call her.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I guess we've got to come up with some definitive process that we
Yes, I
follow.
was just gonna say, maybe we need to, what do we hope to accomplish today? I guess we hope to accomplish,
But what are we going to tell or ask or a combination of things with the congregation on Sunday, isn't it?
yeah,
So in terms of illustrations, we've got what Fletcher's got done for us.
So
And
I wouldn't give them any illustrations.
no,
You do not want arguments and discussions about placement
Hello?
of rooms.
Hello?
You don't want to get into a discussion about where the rooms are placed. What we want to finalize is what rooms do we need? You give them a diagram and they'll spend all their time wanting to move the rooms around.
okay.
I'll mute her again, yeah.
Can you mute her, Deborah?
I just did again. Yeah, she keeps unmuting herself. Yeah, I know that Carolyn had floated like a World Cafe idea. I don't know if anybody was able to look at some of what she suggested, kind of where people, you kind of have ideas on each table and then people float to these tables, or the ideas float from table to table, and people have an opportunity to kind of brainstorm what they hope to see.
So
Uh,
this is
yeah.
So-
about what space do we need? Like just trying to figure out what exactly do we
Yeah.
need. And I saw an email with measurements that says this is our current footprint of the existing, the sanctuary, the space behind the sanctuary, just of the church part, not of the gym or anything. Won't we start with that to say this is what we currently occupy? It's about, I don't know, 2,400 square feet or whatever. Is this the space that we need? Because we're just trying to identify the current space, just focusing on St. Paul's needs, not the tenants. But would it be a good idea to say our current space that's focused on St. Paul's is approximately however?
I think if we give people, I think the idea is to look outside the box, so not have look at our current space or look at a new space. It's more about what are the needs, like like for one table might have we might have on each table the kind of ministry we want. We might have on one table, if we want outreach ministry, what kinds of things do we need? What kind of space needs do we need? If you want to have children and youth programming, what kind of space do we need? If we
Okay.
for our worship needs, what kind of space do we need? So
Okay.
more general, more subject oriented than how
Okay.
much space.
Yeah. Okay.
Jackie, you mentioned seeing some square footage area. Did Harold send something to you?
I vaguely recall an email where he measured it with his whatever, and I can't find the email. That's my problem.
Yeah, there was an email where he sent, yeah, because I did a spreadsheet up basically of the different rooms and then the current square footage and proposed square footage. And then Harold, I think a day later, maybe two, I think he went, took measurements at the
Oh, yeah.
church and populated and sent it out. So
Yes.
it does exist.
For some reason, I did not.
Oh, wait a minute. Test speaker and microphone. I'll try that. Now I do hear something.
We
Can you hear us,
you.
Faye?
We hear you, Faye.
No?
I hear a ringtone, but it's very faint.
Okay, I'm
Well,
gonna mute her again,
Yeah.
Carolyn. Okay.
So I missed out on that email.
Yeah.
So you say, Jackie, it was roughly what, 24?
Yeah. So now I found it. It's going. I think it's based on Fletcher's diagram, the one that shows us all the spaces, and so it was a little table, and the first row says sanctuary 150 to 250 people, church services, weddings, funerals, concert. 70 by 40 current square feet, 2,800 square feet. So he went, I think, based on the rooms
I
that,
just sent it to you, Bert.
Okay, thanks.
yeah, because Fletcher did this really nice diagram and showed us all the little spaces of a potential of what it could look like. And Harold filled in the current square footage occupied by all of these, all of the rooms, the sanctuary, the kitchenette, etc.
Yeah, the spaces I did were not based on Fletcher's diagram. They were based on his his Excel worksheet.
Oh, okay.
So the question is, how do we want to engage the congregation in
Yeah.
this conversation without getting down to details? You could spend a lot of time on details.
So we have to ask pretty clear, pointed questions.
Yeah, you have to unmute yourself. Good.
Can you hear us, Faye?
Yeah, but I can't see my picture.
Well, hearing is more important.
Okay. All right.
Great.
The bottom left-hand corner, Faye, of your screen, you see video.
Yeah,
You see
Right.
stop video.
yeah.
There.
Oh, there. Okay, thanks, Carolyn.
So,
Welcome, Faye.
Why is it so big? Move back.
Okay. So we're just talking about how we engage the congregation on Sunday in talking about our needs, our space needs.
Mhm.
We're talking a bit about Carolyn's idea around the World Cafe, where we have, I couldn't remember, Carolyn, were we talking about like putting each of the topics would be on the tables, and the topics would be around our ministry, like children and youth programming, worship needs, our outreach needs, those kind of things, and people would be kind of brainstorming what they see as needed for those ministries.
What I'm remembering is each table, yeah, it was sort of what do you envision? What kind of space do you picture for each of those areas? And then 2 or 3 people from each table could move around so that you got a shifting conversation. And that would accommodate people who didn't feel capable of getting up and moving around a lot. And the idea is everybody gets to build on each other's ideas rather than getting stuck or blocked in, and it just kind of evolves the ideas. You add it into the group, and at the end, you've got a pretty broad idea.
Well, I'm still having trouble with that. Are you going to ask how much space you need for worship, for example, or are we going to leave that out? Because we know,
No, worship
we
and
know-
music would be one of the areas we'd put out there.
well, we know we want to accommodate a minimum of 70, 80 people and a maximum of, what did Harold say, 250? Or 225, or that's, so we
I
need,
think I think Deborah's suggesting, Bert, that we worry about that after the fact.
Yeah.
Get the congregation to tell us what the room looks like and what kind of room we need. And then we'll sort out the square footage and all of that after the fact. Am I correct, Deborah?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know where Bert's going, so you need to answer his background question.
Well,
Mhm.
and it's possible that when a group sits at the table, they'll be like, they will talk about how much space we need, but I don't think we want to direct them there. Like, we
Right.
want to leave it general.
So there's five of us that are part of the core team. So if Isla is able to be there on the Sunday as well, then using this concept, each one of us would basically be discussing one of these topics,
Yes.
and the congregation would move, or the congregation could come in. If we have round tables or rectangular tables or whatever, we have seats, we have the chairs available around the table. Each one of us goes to a table, sits down, starts the discussion, has discussion for maybe 10, 15 minutes or whatever it is. And then we all get up and rotate to the next table. And we talk to the next table about whatever our topic is, whatever each one of us is speaking about. Is that,
Yep.
Am I right?
Yeah, so I've just opened up that document. what does it look like to have cafe style gathering space? Don't necessarily ask them for specifics, but get them dreaming. You'll get numbers people, you will get picture people, you will get, hey, I remember when people, and they'll all add. And then after a few minutes, some of those folks move on to the next table so that the whole room gets to discuss 2 or 3 of the topics, maybe not a full rotation.
But we're rotating, right? That we're leading discussion, so we're rotating, and they're staying where they are. It just when next person comes to the table, it's a new topic that they're discussing.
Yes.
That's an alternative. That's a way to do it. If you have a piece of paper on the table where people are jotting down comments and sketching things out, and I've seen it done with crayons, so it can be pretty creative. But in that case, the topic stayed, the people moved.
Okay, well, maybe with our congregation, it's a bit of an older congregation. Maybe it'd be better for them to stay and we move.
Yeah, I think so.
But I like the idea of thinking about that. It might be crayons, or it might be this, or it might be that, which means we probably need a what I'll call a very large piece of paper that's probably like 2 feet by 4 feet that can move with you, but is big enough to fit the table for people to write all over.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, what do they call them? Those meeting boards or something like that, where you flip the paper over top and
Chart paper, you can get sticky ones, but I don't think we need it. And I've got rolls of banquet paper too, if we were really stuck. I think we have chart paper.
Yeah, I've got
And lots of
some paper as well.
So we're jotting down basically their responses. We're taking the notes ourselves, and at the end of that, we'll take those notes back as a group, and we'll sort of consolidate them into what were the sort of major commonalities, I guess, and across
Okay,
the
so-
comments.
And I
Uh,
think you could have one note taker, but you could also have 2 or 3 people writing things down because there are some people who like to doodle and write as they think. So it'd be open to anybody writing down things.
It allows multi-sensory
Yeah.
ideas, right? Some people will be remembering something they loved, and other people will be counting stuff. And
So at the end of all of this, the core group will gather all the sheets of paper that are on the table, and then, as Fletcher said, goes through them and summarize.
Mhm. That would probably be a good in-person meeting, right? To kind of bring all that paper together and go over it and talk about it.
Yeah.
I
So,
just shared the document again.
well, I'm sorry, I'm still lost.
Okay.
What are the kind of questions we're really asking? So take Sunday school, for example. Is that going to be one of the themes?
Let's brainstorm what some of the themes might be. Like
Well, you said youth programming was one.
children and what about children and youth programming could be one theme.
Okay, so we asked them, what do they think we need to carry out youth programming? Is
Yeah.
that the question?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have to establish now the various categories.
Yes.
So do we bring worship into it?
I
Yes.
think so.
Yes, we
Yeah.
have to have worship. So worship is one, youth programming is one. Does that include Sunday school, or is that separate?
I think maybe I thought maybe we'd combine the children and youth programming. I don't know how others feel about that.
I think it'll depend on how many topics we have.
Right. Carolyn's put some options in the chat box that were on her document. Community gathering. That's probably a good one, like some gathering space.
Is that different from worship space?
I
Okay.
think the
It's
Yeah.
different.
way that I was picturing this was, you know, what would it look like to meet these needs? Would it look like to host this kind of work or this kind of idea? Not so much a specific, what does the space look like, but how do you
But-
picture this happening?
Don't leave it too broad for them, or you'll never get the answer that you really want. And you remember that I'll be the dull blanket here. We agreed that 1 o'clock the air cadets are coming in.
Yes,
Means we have to be done and out by 1 o'clock.
Which means we want to be like done talking by, how long does it take to tear down? Like by 12:30?
probably It's probably going to take 10 minutes, I would imagine.
Okay,
It's
so you
not
want to be
that-
done by 12:45.
And I think if you make the question too broad and too open for the first 12 questions being, what do you mean? Then we waste a lot of time and we may not get the answers that we're looking for, which is ultimately, what kind of space do we need?
Okay.
Because if they
So-
go into too many different directions, it won't help us with the space requirement. And that's really what we'd like to get out of this. Something to help us do that, so.
So what, I have 4 topics written down so far. I have worship and music. I have children and youth programming. I have outreach or social justice ministry.
Yep.
And I have community gathering, space, community gathering. It's a topic.
Yeah. So community gathering would include, just because someone's going to ask the question, would it include the book study and things like that?
I think so, yeah.
Okay,
What about kitchen space? Kitchen
So-
space.
Yeah, but how does
You-
kitchen
you can't-
space?
yeah, you
serve
don't
more
want to
than
say
another?
kitchen space. It's got to come out of the discussion, really.
Okay,
We'd be leading them into that otherwise. I'd be amazed if it didn't come up. In at least 2 or 3 of those
Right, exactly, like
areas.
outreach ministry, they might think kitchen, community gathering space, they might think kitchen.
Yeah.
yeah, that would fall under a community gathering, I suppose.
It could, yep.
Okay, so 4 main headings, so I'll be expecting, how many tables do you think we'll have? Tables of 6 each?
Yeah,
Well, if there's one of us core team members is at each table, then that would be, in theory, that'd be 5 tables.
For
6.
6 tables.
6?
Yeah.
Who am I missing? 1, 2, 3.
Probably me.
Oh, you, Harold, yes, sorry. I keep thinking of you as a board member, not as a
he,
member of
Yeah.
the
he is
board.
he is a board member technically.
You're quasi,
Yeah, I'm a link.
yes.
he's,
So, yeah.
he's in
mean-
everywhere.
So
we need
Sometimes
a
the
fifth.
missing link. Yeah.
So we have 5 core team members and 4 topics. So it's 1 core team member floater. Right? We have worship and music, children and youth programming, justice and social outreach, and community gathering. Did I get that right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there are 5 core team members. So is 1 a floater, or do we want to add another one? Or
Yeah, good question. Are there other topics we should be adding that we haven't thought of, that's missing, that's? And if there's only 4, do we? Because I'm trying to imagine, I don't know, we had 70 people at the luncheon. I have no idea how many might come for this. But if we only had 4 topics, we could double them up too, right? Just as long as they don't end up at the same table again.
I would be tempted to break out Christian education and youth group,
Right.
because they tend to have quite different requirements.
Mhm.
Yep. So like faith formation compared to youth group ministry.
Yeah. I mean, that's just my impression. Carolyn may disagree, but seems to me
Oh,
that they're
I don't disagree, Harold, and I think you could probably lump youth group in with community gathering space, like when we talk about what cafe looks like, or we talk about what you'd invite a group into. No
So-
reason that can't be youth.
I was just thinking from Isla's perspective, might it be better to have it separate?
So then it moves from children and youth programming to children programming and youth programming broken out separately.
Yeah.
That's my
Well,
suggestion.
Harold specifically said Christian education, so we could call it all ages faith formation.
You're losing screens then. I'm coming down to take it. Bye.
Who is that?
I think
Sorry,
Joanne-
that's my lovely wife,
Rattling.
my son, talking to my cooperative son,
Okay.
so.
Rallying the rabbits, yeah.
Yes, yes.
So it's
Is-
what, Deborah? All age
all ages faith formation.
faith.
One, Declan.
And then we have youth group ministry separate.
What did you say, Deborah? Faith formation?
Faith formation, yeah, instead of Christian education is
An old term, okay.
it's an older term, yeah. It's not that it's bad, just an older term.
You mean,
Okay.
and do you mean kids? Like
No,
Sunday,
I don't. It could be any ages.
yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. I was just trying to figure out the delineation.
It just seems to me that the youth group has more focus on involvement and less focus on maybe teaching certain things. It's a subtle way of teaching values. And I think that's the way it should be
Mhm.
when they get together. So it just seemed to me they're a little different, and it
Yep.
might put a little more. It's the one area where we can actually maybe separate a little bit of focus for youth.
Yep.
Okay, so that's 5 topics. If we have 6 people at a table, that's only 30 people, which we usually have more. We usually have between 40 and 50, isn't that right? At these things?
It depends on which one. Sometimes we've had 30 something, and then I think the last one had more than that. I
Yeah,
wasn't there, so.
yeah.
Are we feeding them lunch? What's that plan?
No lunch.
Okay, well, that saves us 10 minutes. Okay.
It's get your coffee and join the tables, and
Yeah.
are we going to have any preliminary discussion about the vision?
Oh, that's a good, yeah, that's right.
I mean, I don't think it needs to be long. It's sort of does anybody see, it's more or less, do you not see a place where what you think we should be doing fits in? Because it's pretty broad, but
Mm-hmm.
So
and then move from that to the space discussion. It's a way of warming them up to the what I'll call the categories a little bit in advance. That's all.
So are we asking for their feedback as to whether or not they agree with the vision statement?
Well, if you think we should be doing something, can you find it in there? If there's something that you can't find in the vision because it's fairly broad, a spot that it would fit. Well, what is it? What are we missing?
Okay.
And that I think will also help people understand where that the vision is broad, and maybe understand a little bit more about what they could find inside the vision.
So the question would be, when you read the vision, what do you think we require in terms of space? Is that fair?
That would be like the second question. Yeah, the first one is what do you think is there something missing? Is there something you think we should be doing that isn't covered by the vision? And then after we get through that, it's okay now, given the vision and who we are, just talking about us and St. Paul's selfishly. We have these topics to explore about space, what we need in order to be able to do it. And that's just my input. It's nothing directive. I'm going to mute a little bit while I drive.
Yeah.
But I'm listening.
Yeah, okay.
Does anyone see any benefit to discussing like the financial sustainability question, or getting feedback from the congregation as to if they have any ideas as to how we could generate more revenue, I guess?
You could almost have that as a separate topic too, for people to
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't that fall into the next stage where we're looking at the hub concept, and then you need the finances to manage it and stuff like that? Or
I think
Or whether
no matter, so even if we're sharing space and managing a building with a group of people, we still have to find a way to be financially sustainable on our own, right? So
Yeah.
Paying staff, paying for programming, all of that comes with being a congregation. So financial sustainability, I think is a good one for the congregation to be thinking about.
so based,
we around also include a discussion of whether we lease or buy when you come to, because that's going to be a big figure in terms of financial stability and looking towards that.
Yeah, I'm not, so my thoughts on that would be that I don't think we're ready to have that conversation. I think we have to kind of wait and see what our space needs are, wait and see what's out there. I think we're gonna probably need more advice around that before we actually bring it to the congregation.
Okay.
Jackie, if you don't mind, can I ask you to turn your sound up a bit? I'm having trouble hearing you. I can hear everyone else, but I can't hear you.
Because I'm not saying anything of interest.
No,
Oh,
not that at all. No. Well, I learned that there was this square footage area thing sent around. Somehow he left me off. I'm going to take him to task for that. I'll speak to him quietly.
Sometimes we could invite just casually and in the e-news or on a Sunday morning, just invite people to gather ideas for fundraising or different models they've seen before. Hey, my brother's church does X or whatever. And that doesn't have to be in the discussion, but we can kind of build. And then if that becomes another event, another time, that's fine. But, some fundraising is hugely exhausting on volunteers, and some things make little bits of money without that, and some things make lots of money. So different people will have different experiences to share, but I don't know that needs to be a topic someday.
I would suggest that it's not a topic for this meeting. We'll have enough trouble fitting this in the time as is.
I agree.
Yeah.
And Bert, I'm sure you were on my list, but I'll double check the email.
No, I'll speak to you quietly,
I
outside
think
the meeting.
I think the
Well, you're-
fault may lie with me, Bert. I think the fault may lie with me, actually, because I think I left you off the initial send out. So
Don't worry.
so I think
Oh,
Harold just responded to the original email. So
I hope you
my
realize I'm
bad.
just kidding. That's all. Well,
I'll get you.
okay, so are we going to include fundraising or not?
Sounds like not. Sounds like we'll wait for that one.
Okay. So
It,
I,
it does though speak to needs though, in terms of space needs. If we're trying to identify space and we're thinking of maybe putting a cafe or something in the space that would generate income for the church on a steady basis, then you have to factor that in, that you're gonna need that space somewhere, carve it out into your needs, right? But that's my 2 cents.
Right. We have some of the guys were looking to create a pub. They would need that space for it, right?
Right.
When, you know, I brought up the synagogue when we were there, there's the sanctuary, as I guess they call it that. And then it kind of spreads back and there's more room for tables and so on. And then there's the kitchen. And they served right outside there. It was essentially a room. And I just picture that those two things can be opposite ends of one room.
White.
So that maybe there's some different ways, but yeah. It can add to the flavor of the space, or I don't know.
I guess I wonder, like, is the something like that, is it intended to draw in the public, the general public, or is it just meant for the congregation to utilize? Because if the congregation is utilizing it, how much revenue are really generating? Because if the congregation, that revenue would be you know, like it could be given to the church in terms of donations. If they're not giving in terms of donations, then the chances are they're not going to be giving through coming to the church and buying a coffee from the cafe in the church rather than going to Starbucks down the road, right? So I think whatever it has to be something that would attract outside interest from outside the congregation itself. Bring people in off the streets to get to, you know, utilize whatever that is.
Well,
I
and
do
maybe
know-
we, go ahead, Carolyn.
I do know of a couple of coffee shops called things like Higher Ground or Fairgrounds or whatever, and they are run by church congregations, and they're like some of them are on site in the building, and some of them are down the road. Some of them employ kids with special needs. Some of them do things like that, so that they are actually advertising out. It's still a legitimate concern to get a good model, but there are creative things being done.
I wonder if there could be a sixth table just for outside the box thinking. I mean, right now we're kind of putting people into this box where there's 5 categories, right? So maybe we need to have a table where people can, if an idea comes to them that's completely outside these 5 categories, then they have that option of putting it somewhere else.
I'll volunteer for that table. I'll be the what else table. What else can you come up with? What else? Give it to me.
no,
Yeah.
but that's the question we're going to ask. Besides the categories that you see written on these sheets of paper, what else do you want to talk about?
Mm-hmm.
It's an open question.
Yep.
So anyway, I'm still missing the 5th category. I've got worship, I've got faith formation, outreach, community gathering.
Youth
You,
group,
Oh, I thought the youth group was at faith formation. No?
nope, we're making it separate.
Okay,
And if we have 6 tables of 6 people, that brings us up to 36. And then we can always add a table, add a chair, I mean, to make it 7 at a table, but I think that would be, I think 6 categories might be a good fit.
yeah. Mind you, we only have 1 hour. That's
Mhm.
it. So you know how time goes pretty fast.
Yep.
The more
So this
people you have, the more,
So we get 10 minutes per table. That includes coffee time, though, right?
yeah.
Well, we also have to fit in our core discussion. Our
Vision statement?
vision. Yeah, vision
Vision.
statement.
Yeah. So that's seven topics then, basically.
What time
Harold have to talk fast.
are we starting the meeting?
Soon after coffee, everyone gets their coffee and sits down. So Deborah's going to make sure that the service is done pretty fast.
Yes.
30,
What's that thing?
11:30.
If we can get started before, then it'd be good. Like
if
I'll
we were to
try to
put the-
keep. Go ahead, Fletcher.
Sorry, what if we put to, have everyone come and sit down at the tables and then have like a coffee cart come around and serve them at the table? Then they're already at the table sitting down and just, how do you like your coffee? One
That'd
lump
be
or
just as disruptive, I think, as getting them to get their coffee and come to the table.
party pooper Harold, your party.
I know, but you have someone run around with a cart and you'll have trouble getting people focused.
Debbie
I
Downer.
wonder if we aim for 11:20. And then we can, I'll try and be done like 11, between 11:05 and 11:10. Like we'll try and be done a little earlier. I don't want to cut short worship for those who need that worship time. But then we can head down and tell people that we're going to, get started right away and get your coffee or your tea and have a seat, and hopefully we can get started by 11:20.
Yep. They've done this before.
What do we do with the kids running around the gymnasium?
Live with it.
Live with it?
Well, we've done pretty well other times, but maybe I'll put my brain to that and see if there's like a teenager or two who could supervise for a couple hours. Not that we don't want the teens at the tables, that's the only problem. We
Yeah.
want them involved.
No, but the younger ones, like Zach, we could ask Zach if he's around to stay a little bit later that day, and especially for the younger ones.
Yep.
So I have a general question. In all these table discussions, what if people bring up the financial questions? What's our response to that?
Table 6.
I also think we make sure we reassure them that this isn't the last conversation, right? We're going to
Right.
continue to bring these conversations to them, whether it be about the amount of space we need or whether we need more conversation on financial sustainability. Like this isn't we will find more time to have these conversations.
Yeah. It's really too early to talk about financial sustainability when you don't even know what it is you're going to be doing.
Yeah.
Another thing is, it's totally fine to ask people to come to us and say, I have a question. Okay, great, let's talk. And if 5 or 6 people are wanting to talk about it, then we have a little resource group of people who are maybe experienced or have some ideas or whatever. So it doesn't have to happen on a Sunday after church concept.
Yep.
I still like the idea of telling them it's like, that discussion's at table 9 and there's no 9th table. Have them go looking for it.
Yeah, or in the parking lot.
There's always lots of those conversations.
No.
So if we started at 11:20,
Yes,
prayer, and then open with talking about the vision statement, making sure there's one on every table for people to look at and go over it, ask questions. Is there anything we're missing? Kind of conversation. Maybe keep that to maybe 10 or 15 minutes. And then explain the process, which you'll need probably a few minutes to do. And if we kept the conversations to 8 minutes long, that would give us a 2-minute buffer to get people to, the switch that happens and the commotion that happens in between. So hopefully it would only be 10 minutes per conversation. That brings us to about 75 minutes, and we've left us, we have 85 minutes down here.
That's an option, or we only do 3 rotations and not everybody gets to every table. So there's that possibility too. And then that's the spirit of trusting our neighbors and trusting our community.
And it gives them a little more time, I guess, on the topic if they want.
If you did 4 10-minute revolutions, that's 40 minutes plus 6, for shifting 8, whatever.
but people going to go from one table to another?
I
No,
thought we
we're
were
having-
going, we're going.
Yes, we're having the core team bring the topic to the next table.
Ah,
And then we
okay.
don't need 2 minutes to shift, right?
No,
Well, I think you do. Hopefully not, but people start chatting and then but yeah.
it's like musical chairs. Just get Catherine to play music while, while you get up to move to the next chair, and then you take away a chair, whoever gets there last has to stand at that table.
Oh, I like
Eight-
that one. I
8
like that.
minutes. 8 minutes is a reasonable amount of time to talk about one topic. 18 minutes becomes a little bit draggy. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I think actually people work better knowing there's a little bit of time pressure, which keeps some of the discussion and wandering contained.
Yep, I agree.
There may,
And we need to get better at that. Everybody does when we meet to do things like this. So it's sort of a training exercise too.
Mm-hmm.
and 8 minutes might seem long actually if no one is actually offering suggestions, right? If it's just blanks, blank silence, and you're
Yep.
getting no feedback whatsoever. 8 minutes, you're going to be sitting there going, "Is it time yet? Can we switch now?"
Yeah.
Yep.
And keep some paper on hand if people want to sit down and sketch out something that comes to their mind, right? Like we can collect that too.
Mm-hmm.
That's my wife doodling all the time.
Hmm. So if we're looking at 8 minutes, do we still want to keep it to just 4 rounds, or do we want to go up? Or do you want to do 6 rounds?
I think we should give a shot at all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my thinking. We take these sheets of paper, whatever we call them, I can't, flip charts.
Flip charts, that's flip charts.
That's what I just realized. And we write down these 5 things or whatever. I may have missed one again, but 5 things on the chart with space in between and for discussion and writing comments. And when we move, we take that chart with us, or do we leave the chart there for the next core team member to deal with?
No, the core team member brings it with them so that the next table has a fresh new idea to look at.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay,
Yeah, so like Bert, like if you're doing like worship and music, as your topic, you'll sit down the first table, say, "Okay, guys, what do you think of when it say worship and music? What do you need?" And then at the end of the 8 minutes, you take that sheet to the next table, and you talk to the next group of people about music and, hey, what's music and worship? What needs? They might say the same things. You can write them down twice, but
well, you stick
Did.
with the same topic then.
the same topic. You are only talking about that one topic. Each one of us is going to talk about one topic only.
Okay, that makes it easier. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
see that happening. And I can remember then which topic I'm supposed to talk about.
Yes.
We'll write it on the paper for you, Bert.
Yeah, but
In case you
gotta-
forget, it's at the top of the page.
Well, don't be surprised if I come to you guys in the middle of the meeting and say, what are we supposed to be
What's
doing?"
my topic again?
I just put that on the list of things we need here is labels, topics, description. So
Yeah.
yes.
And make sure Bert knows what he's doing.
And Faye too.
Harold, do you, okay, does one of the core team want to lead the conversation around that vision document, or do we want, I'm just wondering whether, because Harold kind of wrote it up and he's been part of
Yeah.
bringing it together. If Harold would want to present that.
Yeah, Mr. Devaney will do that.
Who's he? Sure.
Okay.
If no one else wants to do it, I'll do it, no problem.
So is Harold going to make an initial announcement about what's happening here?
I can do that too.
I think
Yeah,
we-
so I'll open with a prayer Carolyn or I will open with a prayer. And then Harold will then, yeah, open up the meeting, talk about the vision statement. Does somebody from the core team actually want to like let people know what we're doing today and how it's gonna happen? Give somebody else a voice on during the day, like,
Please.
Sorry, so Harold's gonna talk about the vision statement and then basically say to everyone, you know, is there something, if there's something missing from this or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
please let us know during this discussion today. And then you're looking for someone from the core team to say, okay, guys, this is how this meeting's gonna take
Yes.
place. This is the plan. Okay. Oh, I can do
Yes.
that. That's fun.
great.
Good.
Who's gonna
Alright.
have the master timer?
I don't mind doing that. I can set my clock for 8 minutes.
So are we gonna basically put the piece of paper on the table and let the congregation write down on the paper themselves what they're thinking, or are they dictating to us and we're writing down? Because it makes a difference in terms of how many pens we would need or pencils or whatever.
I think we do the writing.
They
I think it's
dictate, we write.
both. I think it's both. I think it's good for the core team member to write down what they're hearing, but I also think it's good maybe to put some colored pencils, crayons, pens down for other people to just jot and doodle or whatever they need to do, right? Like some people think better when they're writing and doodling, so
It also builds buy-in, like
Yeah.
they own those ideas and they own participating, and it's valuable.
We can go back to them and say, hey, I think that was your scribble right there. That was
Yeah.
your scribble.
Yeah. It sounds silly, but that is part of it, right? It's like right
Yeah.
there.
Okay, so we have pens. So I think, do we have a flip chart at church, or do we need to pick one up?
we should
Oh.
have flip charts at the church.
I will, I'll ask Tracy to check a couple of spots that I think they are tomorrow. And
Well,
if not,
Tracy,
I'll have to buy.
Tracy has very large roll of white paper, I think.
Are we talking about Tracy Mitchell or Tracy Chippendale?
Tracy Mitchell.
Yes, I believe she does.
So we could cut those to semi-fit the table, a little smaller than the table. And I know that there's also upstairs in the office, I left a whole bunch of pens, pencils, and magic marker stuff, I think, in a small clear plastic container, rather than being in my basement.
I have
Yeah.
piles of markers. I've got a big roll of paper, and I know there's some flip charts in the friendship room as well. So over the next couple of days, we can all just locate those things.
Well, I've just found about a dozen and 15 sheets of paper on a
Yeah.
flip chart,
That'll work.
There you go.
but I don't have the stand.
We don't need a stand, it's gonna be on the table.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
leave it on the table. Yeah.
So Deborah, you will call time, right? And then when you call that, we just move to another table.
Yep.
Do you like a referee whistle or something you want to? Something you can blow and.
I have a train whistle in my office, that would work.
Oh,
There we go.
perfect.
Yeah, there you go.
I have a giant bell.
Get off the tracks. The train's coming. Get off the tracks.
Right.
So,
Um,
as the core team here, does anyone like of these topics? Does any of them really speak to you that you want to volunteer to be the person, talking to the congregation about them, like, or is it you want to draw
Well,
straws or?
I checked in with Isla and she said she would do the youth ministry one.
Good,
Okay,
good.
that's a good fit.
And you're doing table 6, right?
I'm
What
doing
else?
the what else? Yes, I'm doing the what else. So
What did Isla choose?
Youth ministry.
youth.
Yes.
Any others shouting out to people that they want to be? That they want to
I'll
take?
I'll take what's left.
Okay.
Community gathering.
Community gathering, Faye? that leaves worship and music, outreach or justice ministry, and all ages faith formation.
Well, I'll do worship and music.
Okay. Jackie, anything calling to you?
I'll do justice and social outreach.
Okay.
So left me with
So-
faith formation.
Yes, it does.
Okay. Remember, you don't need to know all that much about it because you're not doing a lot. You're not doing a lot of talking.
Yeah, you're starting the discussion and saying.
Yeah.
Get them.
Yeah,
get people talking.
yeah. How does this feel?
Pretty good.
Sounds like a good plan.
Okay. Okay. And I think it's gonna be a good amount of time too. It feels like feels like we have just enough time for what we need to do.
And the
Well, we
board seems
need-
to be happy. They do this as fast as the board does now.
Yep.
So, do we need to go and buy some markers and stuff like that?
I think Harold said there's a whole bunch of stuff at the church and there should be a bunch of stuff in the Sunday school room if we needed it too, so.
If I get a chance, I'll go in tomorrow and check what's there.
Okay,
I've got
Yeah,
stuff in my office too, Harold, markers.
got
I've got
supply?
working-
Okay. I'll let Carolyn know how much we've got and she'll let me know how much she's got and we'll figure it out.
And setting up tables and chairs, who wants to be there early to do that?
well, I'll help with that.
I'm gonna be opening up, so I'll be there.
Can we do that? Can we do that after between choir finishing for practice and then and the service starting? Can we do that? Can we do it then?
I prefer to do it before the choir practice. But
Okay.
So you're thinking about 9 then, Harold?
yeah, I'll be there before 9. It won't take long.
Well,
The tables are in room 1 and the chairs are in room 3, so it doesn't take long really.
Okay. Okay, well, we'll all be around to help take down afterwards.
Yeah.
so Harold,
Do-
tell me what time are you really going to be there? Because I know if I get there at 9, you're gonna have everything done.
No,
8:45?
I will be there. I will be there at 8:45 for opening up.
Okay.
And so that takes me a few minutes before I'll get down to the gym.
Okay.
Okay,
Do we want to pick a date and a time to reconvene after this to go through together as in person to go through the kind of results and tabulate everything, or
yes.
because that might be one of the questions we get from the congregation is when are we going to, the information you're gathering today, when are we going to sort of
Mhm.
get the results back type thing.
Well, what do you think about next Tuesday? Is that too far away?
The
From,
30th?
yeah,
Next too far away. No.
It's a lot of Tuesdays, but it's a lot of work.
okay, that would be my last meeting.
That's only 2 days after they give us the input for us to meet. That's pretty good.
Yep.
I'm gonna ask Isla if she's available that day.
Oh, that's right. It's only 2 days, yeah. I was thinking too much time after the meeting to sit down and stuff, but it's only 2 days. That's
Are we
okay.
talking about this the same time? Or are we talking about like something like after dinner type thing or in the early evening?
Well,
Declan's got hockey from 5 to 6, so that's all. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, this could take several hours.
Yeah. So are we talking about like meeting at 7 o'clock or something at the church or something, or is that or?
I was thinking that if we have these charts, we need to get them all together and for us to all see them together.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to meet. We can't, I mean, in person.
So does Tuesday work is the question? Tuesday at 7, does that, it gives us a couple of hours anyway.
It still works for me. I don't know about the others, so.
Works for me for the 30th.
Yes,
Yeah,
I don't know, because at the moment, because my phone is what I'm looking at and it's got my schedule on there.
Right.
Last thing I want to do is lose you guys while I look.
you should be okay to do it, but
yeah.
Oh,
you should
yeah,
be-
I know, but I'm not that tech savvy that I can do it without concerns.
totally understand.
Isla said she can do Tuesday.
So it will be Tuesday, the 30th at 7. Is that the time?
Yeah.
And
That
on
works for everybody.
And on
Yeah, I think
Sunday,
Tuesdays are usually pretty good for me. So.
after we've done all the tables, who is collecting and keeping all the sheets so that they will be available on Tuesday, the 30th? Is one person?
Well, we'll work that out, Jackie. One of us will do it. Or two of us will
In
do
fact,
it.
we could always put it in Carolyn's office, right? Like it's,
Yeah,
we keep it at the church.
we either put it in Carolyn's office or in the friendship room.
Top secret.
I would have to make sure the friendship room was open. I don't remember. There's a guide meeting happening on a Tuesday night sometime, and I'm not sure which one it is.
Oh,
Oh,
right,
okay.
right.
My office is fine.
Well, let me check, Harold. I've got the schedule for the rentals over here. So we got January 30th. We've got room 8 booked. We've got walk.
Yeah, that's all scouts downstairs.
We don't have it. The friendship room is available.
Okay.
That's good. Gives us good amount of space to spread out.
And a nice long table to put stuff on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just scouts and volleyball, nothing else.
All right.
That's good. It's good we've got a meeting already.
Okay. So, one of you, Deborah or Carolyn, just could you list those 6 points or 5 points or 10 points?
I will send an email. I'm gonna send an email anyway to Isla to update her. So I'll
Okay,
write something down and send it to everybody.
that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
And then we'll be all set for Sunday morning.
Yes. And you won't forget your topic. It'll be written down.
Right, that's important, yeah. Okay, thanks, Harold.
Okay,
No
I think
problem.
I think we've gone over everything we need to go over. We're good.
I think so.
Oh, so people will be, I guess we'll need sorry. Do we want to have snacks or anything on Sunday? Like, do you want to
No,
let?
no,
Okay,
no.
just coffee, tea, and whatever Rob puts out.
Yes,
Jeff wants snacks.
Jeff has to do some work for snacks.
Oh, you have to do some work for snacks, honey.
I always work for snacks.
All right. Okay, we're good.
All righty.
Thank you, everybody.
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I'm here.